We all know that studying cells and its different parts and functions can be very complicated, so today we will look at the cell as an analogy of my favorite football club, Real Madrid. Now, before I start this analogy, I need to put out a disclaimer that no analogy is perfect, but I've tried to make this analogy as accurate as possible. The function of the cell wall is to give it security and support. It is important to know that the cell wall is not part of the cell, but also that it's not featured in every cell. For example, animal cells don't have cell walls. For the cell wall, I'm likening it to the exterior gates at the Santiago Bernabeu. So it's not technically part of the match, but it does indeed protect it from physical harm such as any attackers. Now, not all stadiums have gates and security, but the bigger ones such as this one do. And as you all know, plant cells are bigger than animal cells. I would also like to look at this analogy in a more abstract form. Now, the gates and the security also give the Santiago Bernabeu some structure as they determine when the match starts, when it finishes by opening the gates at appropriate times. The plasma membrane is semi-permeable, meaning it allows substances such as oxygen to go in while waste products come out. It is also a part of every cell. I have likened the plasma membrane to the sidelines. In an abstract form, it is semi-permeable, only players are allowed to go in, and fans or streakers are not allowed to go in. And very much like the plasma membrane is part of the cell, the sidelines is a very important part of the game. They also take out waste products in soccer, which could be seen as bad shots or bad passes that have gone out of bounds. The nucleus of the cell essentially controls the cell's activities by regulating gene expression, but it also stores DNA. I have likened the nucleus of the cell to the Real Madrid manager Zinedine Zidane. He controls how the team plays, but also stores the game plan, which is the DNA. Chloroplast works to convert the light energy of the sun into sugars that can be used by the plants. Chloroplasts are only found in plant cells. In this analogy, the chloroplast is essentially water as it converts Gatorade, a form of energy, into a form of liquid which can be used up by the players. The main function of the mitochondria is to perform cellular respiration. It takes nutrients and turns them into energy. This energy is then in turn used by the cell to carry out various functions. In my analogy, the mitochondria are the water boys. They provide energy to the players in form of Gatorade. However, it's not Gatorade all the time, it's sometimes water, but the water boys are still present. This is similar to the animal cells as they don't have chloroplasts, but they do have mitochondria. It is rumored that the mitochondria was a foreign organism that formed a relationship with the cell. So Gatorade also has a relationship with Real Madrid where Gatorade gets publicity and the club gets energy and the players perform better. So the chloroplast essentially converts energy into usable form and the mitochondria delivers and breaks it down. Ribosomes are the part of the cell that makes proteins from amino acids. They are necessary to perform cellular functions. In my analogy, the ribosome is Luka Modric, who is a playmaker. He is in charge of creating the goals, which can be seen as cellular functions. Enforcing the game plan is also a priority for him. They are also very important as every team needs a playmaker, like how every cell has a ribosome. Rough ER is a membrane-bound structure that ribosomes attach to. They are responsible for modifying proteins. Cristiano Ronaldo is the rough ER, as he is very close proximity to the playmakers, which are the ribosomes. They look for him to pass to, so he can modify the play and score goals. Meanwhile, the smooth ER produces lipids, transfers proteins, and makes cholesterol that helps stabilizes the membranes of the cell, and they are also not close to the ribosomes. The smooth ER is Sergio Ramos, who is the defender. As a defender, he helps stabilize attacks by producing interceptions, which stabilize the entire team. He also produces lipids, which are the interceptions, and is also very far away from Luka Modric. The Golgi body modifies salts and packs proteins for secretion. It is also involved in the transportation of lipids. The Golgi body is Toni Kroos, as he holds up and stores the play for later passing. He is also in charge for transferring the lipids by long passes. Vesicles are used to transfer materials such as proteins from one place of the cell to another. Gareth Bale is the vesicle as he is in charge of moving the ball up. He also often receives passes from Toni Kroos near the boundary line. The main function of the large vacuole is to provide structure, support, protection, storage, and growth and waste disposal. The large central vacuole is Casemiro as he holds up the ball for later use when the team is playing defensively. He also protects the team from counter-attack. Lysomes are a type of vesicles which contain enzymes that digest worn-out organelles. The lysomes in the star is Dani Carvajal, who is a wing defender or a halfback. They're a type of winger. They transport the dead attacks from the other team to outside their half. This is done by clearances from near the membrane. And this is my analogy for cell as Real Madrid. Thanks for listening, and here are the sources.